Level Earth Observer, the crane operator from England who believes his crane proves that the Earth is flat. I have had him in previous videos and several other debunkers have also made videos about him. WheresWally have made several good ones. Let's hear what Level Earth's confused world looks like.
This is a quick video for the globe believers, just to give you a real world example of how ridiculous this theoretical pantomime world really is. We've got two tower cranes, both 400 feet tall, from the ground to the top of the gym. Got one in the UK, and we'll have one down here on the equator. So one's dealing with approximately 600 miles an hour of spin, the one in the UK, and the one on the equator is dealing with just over 1,000 miles an hour spin. Now you would have thought, let's imagine they're both the same height, the same crane, the same weight. Now, using common sense and logic here on a spinning ball, taking into account the gravity pantomime story, common sense would tell you gravity would have to be stronger here to enable the cranes, and bearing in mind, I should say, on a non-windy day, a totally calm day, these cranes with hundreds of feet of rope will be deadly still, okay? Deadly still. The crane doing 600 miles an hour with no wind will have its block down and hundreds of feet of rope, and the block and the crane will be deadly still. The same can be said under the same conditions for the crane at the equator, which is supposedly doing 1,000 miles an hour. So between the two cranes, there's a difference of 400 miles an hour of speed. Yet each crane will show the exact same results, totally still, with the block down and hundreds of feet of rope. Yet the crane at the equator is supposedly dealing with 400 miles an hour more spin than the crane in Britain. Now, of course, the globe believers are going to say gravity, and if you're a globe believer, you're more than likely going to say that yourself. That in itself, just applying common sense, doesn't cut it. But when you look at your model, and gravity's meant to be weaker at the equator than it is further north, when you just break down the claims and you apply real world examples, for example, tower cranes, this thing is just ridiculous. So, to conclude really, I've got a crane in England and I've got a crane at the equator. It's a calm day, no wind. Both cranes will have hundreds of feet of rope down and the block down. There will be no effects whatsoever. Yet between the two cranes there's a difference, supposedly, of 400 miles an hour of spinning speed. Of course, this can't be detected whatsoever by anyone on Earth or the cranes itself. And I think if you were operating a crane that was 400 miles an hour faster, i.e. it was spinning on a ball 400 miles an hour faster in a different place, you'd have different effects. If you didn't, then your so-called story or force of gravity would have to be applying more force to make that happen. But according to your own story, gravity at the equator is weaker and stronger at the poles. It's just ridiculous, this thing. If you've got an answer for me, please provide a link or do a video yourself to a practical demonstration. I don't do explanations or stories. I'm quite happy to have one as long as it's backed up by a practical demonstration. You can't have a crane subject to 600 miles an hour and a crane subject to 1,000 mile an hour of spin, and then both act exactly the same. That's ridiculous. And what makes it even worse is the same amount of wind, a gentle breeze, can overcome both cranes. You'll get the same effects with a 5 to 10 mile an hour breeze here and here. You'll feel those forces applied to the crane. Real forces. But you never feel any force related to a spinning ball because it's not real. And cranes again prove it. You can't have a crane here doing 600 mile an hour when it's blocked down deadly still, and a crane here doing 1,000 mile an hour when it's blocked down being deadly still. That's just absurd in itself. And then your story of gravity and all your daft explanations that no doubt will follow in the comment section just don't cut it. See, if you're a globe believer, the daftness that you have to entertain to believe this thing. It's just ridiculous.
Is Level Earth Observer serious? How can any adult be so ignorant? Or is he joking with his followers? There are several things he doesn't understand. One is the fact that you do not feel constant speed. This addresses WheresWally in several videos. I borrowed a little bit from one of his videos. I recommend you to see the full, link in the description.
G'day everybody, WheresWally here. I hope no one's getting sick of me just taking Adam to the cleaner all the time, but I guess he does ask for it, doesn't he? So he totally misunderstood conservation of momentum. Not surprising, he can't really understand much at all, it would seem. So Adam, have a look at this one. This is a little coin standing on end on a train, and the train is travelling about 350 kilometres an hour, and it's in a linear direction. And when everything is all nice, as in no accelerations, well, there are some tiny ones. You can see the surface of the water wobbling about a little bit.
A very good explanation. But I'm not convinced that Level Earth understands it. Here comes the next piece that he does not understand. It is at what speed the Earth rotates. It sounds a lot when you count miles per hour, but if you look at how long a turn takes, it becomes a whole different story. Nice with children playing. A pretty calm game, right? We take and measure how long a turn takes. Observe the clock in the upper right corner. It took 5 seconds. Then we take and compare with the rotation of the Earth.
Just a quick video on the back of last week, my practical demonstrations using the tower crane, making an absolute mockery of both the globe and the Foucault pendulum. What did we get back from the globe side? Did we get any practicality? No, we didn't. We got waffle, sidetracking nonsense, cartoons, dummy spitting, and we got a few accusations that I'm not real. Apparently I'm a computer generated crane driver and this crane's not real, it's a green screen. So that was the globe evidence, and other than that, the only other thing I saw that had any relevance to this subject was a load of sock accounts rocking up in comment sections. These sock accounts were people claiming to be crane drivers, believe it or not, who were struggling, you can't make this up, struggling to do their job because of the spin of the Earth. All suspicious sock accounts.
Yes, it must be incredibly hard to stick to something that spins as fast as a tower crane. How fast do your crane rotates? Let's measure it. I assume here that the roads are parallel. Note the clock up in the right corner. Your crane rotated 90 degrees in 35 seconds. With that speed, you rotate a lap of 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Let's calculate using these numbers. You rotated your tower crane 24,680 faster than the Earth rotates. The girls rotated 17,280 times faster than the Earth. Why would your crane have problems with the rotation of the Earth, when it has no problem with the incredibly high rotation speed you show in your own video? If you are so stupid that you do not understand this, or if you are just trying to fool your followers, I do not know. Do an experiment, get in your crane and rotate at a speed of 15 degrees per hour. Your rotation that I measured the time for would then take 6 hours. With that rotation speed, how much would your cables move? Globe Earth is not a pantomime theater, but you are a clown. I hope you enjoyed the video. Do you want to see more videos from me? Support the channel via Patreon or shop in the store. That's all for now.